Researching you was really a lot of fun, and that's one of the ways that I judge who to bring on the show is, am I really going to enjoy researching them? And I'll admit my bias was I thought that you were going to be primarily talking about fitness and nutrition, which obviously is a huge part of it, but there's just so much more there. And the thing that I really found interesting was your relationship to pain. So I wanted to start there. What is your relationship to pain?
My relationship with pain runs deep, and it's complicated.
That sounds fair.
On the one hand, I love pain. I love trying to push the outer edges of the envelope of what the pain experience is in a physical sense. And it's also been my greatest teacher in terms of things that I've accomplished, but also my errant ways as well. Pain is truly the only thing that's ever gotten me to change. So it's been my growth accelerator as well as my reminder of when I've gone astray.
That's what I found so interesting about it is, in the one hand, you talk about how you have to get really comfortable with pain if you want to be able to push yourself to the kinds of extremes that you do, but then that pain is this also really powerful thing that can force you to change. So I want to talk more about that. How have you been able to leverage that? I find that pain often causes people to, they go into endurance mode and they just like endure the pain, but they never actually, you use the word leverage. You said, I knew if I could leverage this pain, I could really make change. What is that mechanism of really grabbing a hold of it and making it into something usable?
I think it's learning to embrace it and not being afraid of it. And, you know, for me, it goes all the way back to when I was a young child. I mean, I was a very awkward, insecure kid who had a lot of difficulty making friends and figuring out what the rules for life were. And I was also somebody who was not athletically inclined at all. I was the kid with the eye patch and the headgear, picked last for kickball and all of that. But the one thing that I was actually fairly okay at was swimming. And when you're good at something when you're a kid and you're having difficulty in other areas, that's what you're going to gravitate towards. And that's what I did. And I learned quickly that I was not the most talented swimmer. But in my early teens, I realized that if I was willing to put in the work and do certain things that other people weren't willing to do, that I could bridge that talent gap and pick up a lot of white space. And that meant getting comfortable with pain, to bring it back to your question. So throughout my teens, I would routinely throw down crazy sets in the pool that no one was willing to do. And I was doing it because I knew I wasn't the most talented, and if I wanted to compete at the highest level, that's what would be required.
I love that. And by the way, it was so cool that you shared the photos of you with the eye patch and stuff in your book. I thought that was really neat. How did you go in school? You're being bullied at one point. You see this opportunity to get better. What do you start telling yourself or doing to be able to make pain your friend, to push past it so that you could begin to, beat other people at something?
It's almost like a deep meditative state. And it's a very one-to-one relationship between the pain that you're willing to suffer and the progress that you're going to make. And I saw swimming as my way forward and my way out. And so what that meant was the more that I was willing to suffer, the more likely it would be that I was going to create a positive trajectory out of this painful scenario that I found myself in.
And were you vision boarding things? I mean, how were you staying so tenaciously onto your goals that you pushed that hard?
Well, swimming is a sport in which it's so individualistic and it lends itself to setting very concrete goals. And those goals for me were time standards. Oh, I want to qualify for US Nationals. Oh, I want to qualify for Olympic trials. So I would have a vision board where I'd literally write those times out in very large block letters with a magic marker and put them above my bed or on my mirror in my bathroom, and constantly reminding myself and reinforcing myself about why I was doing what I was doing. So I don't know that I would have called it a vision board at that time. It was more but it was more of a practice of engaging in aspiration. Like I had pictures of all my heroes and all of that, and I think intuitively I was looking towards a better life for myself.